Hi, I'm Byrl with Byrl Guitars. Welcome to Reso Biz. This is the overhauling episodes 2 of 3 that we are doing, and this week we're going to do a little bit of prep work for the setup, and then I got a little bit of history that I found out about it. I want to share with you, so stick with me and let's see what we can do as far as getting this ready for the whole put together. Hi, I'm Byrl with Byrl Guitars, and welcome to Reso Biz, where everything is greater with a resonator. Alright, so before we get started we got a couple more things to do to kind of clean this up and get it ready. But let me show you a couple things I think are neat about this dobro. I did some little research on it. I actually had somebody call me and share some stuff with me also. This and I might have talked about it in the other video, but this is a different design. I mean, if we're talking about this compared to a regular dobro, this is a totally different design with that Mr. Jones had going on in here, and he was using sound posts. You know, this was in the 70s, and then I think something here that speaks to the quality that R.Q. Jones was really trying to put into his instruments. It's a little thing, but it matters. Every screw is going the same direction here. So to have those screws going the same way, every one of them, it has to be on purpose. You know, when you're turning a screw in, how many of you think about where the direction is stopping? That's just a small detail, and I think this guitar is a little rough right now. We have chips here, a chip over here, and there's some finish cracks and stuff in it. But when it was brand new, this was a really nice guitar. A lot of little detail things were looked at he took care to make sure some good detail things happen. The neck is joined up real nice with the body, and I think this in its day was a really nice guitar. So a little bit of history on this about R.Q. Jones is he built a whole bunch of walnut guitars and was actually kind of known for that. And I don't know this all 100%, but this is some of what I got. But then he was, from what I was told, he was encouraged to build mahogany, maybe, or some other stuff. But he just started doing some mahogany, I believe, later in the 70s, closer to the 80s. And there weren't as many mahoganies, as I understand, as walnut guitars. And this one is, so this is kind of be a rare one, or not quite as common, being that this is mahogany. And it's not plywood, it is a solid mahogany instrument. So this kind of makes this a little bit special here. Alright, so these ports you'll find are different from one to another. They have all sorts of different designs of these. It's connected to the top and to the back, and then their back is completely flush and flat on these kind of guitars, and it's very solid, very dense. I think the main purpose of that is keep this thing from bending in half. But that's kind of the reason behind that. But then the R.Q. Jones, I see here what he's doing is he's opening this thing up a little bit so that it definitely changes the sound. Still got some pretty stiff bracing he's got going on in here, so it still kind of gets that solid dobro-y sound. But you heard even in the video when I first played it, it still didn't sound terrible. It still had a pretty good sound to it. I'm hoping we'll hear it quite a bit different. Alright, so here's what we got to do we got some chips. I want to fix some of those. I'm just going to get some black. I'm not trying to make this thing perfect, but we'll get some black. I love this about this dobro. He's got that black burst. This is a dobro thing. I don't know what it is. You know, most guitars, they don't want a sunburst, or they get a little bit of a burst on some of them, but a lot of guitars are natural. But this is a dobro thing. You get the sunburst around the edge, darken the waist, get a little bit on the edge. The neck and the body have the black on it, the color there, and then they get into the black up here. This is a very dobro thing. You don't see a lot of guitars done that way. I love doing it. Alright, so the customer decided he would get new tuners for it. So I'm going to pop these off here real quick. He got the same, for the most part, exact kind. So we'll just going to replace it with the same look. I had some people say that it seems weird to have these tuners straight up like that, but it is so useful for being able to tune it and change the strings and that sort of thing. I just messed with one the other day that they were down. That is a real hassle. And there we go, there's that one. Alright, here's the other side. Oh yeah, some real pretty mahogany finish and stuff is under there. It's pretty neat. Alright, now we'll go to some cleanup stuff. Alright, so I'm going to level this lip a little bit right here, because we have a lot of imperfections in it. It's kind of interesting how this was put together. There's a definite dip there. I'm not sure. I might have to build that up a little bit. We'll see where we can get. Okay, so get this cone in here, and just what I'm looking for is just yeah, it's still a little bit out of shape, but there's not any big giant voids, and I'm seeing also where that cone lip is laying on the edge of this, and so I've got a kind of a bad spot here, but the cone lip is coming clear up here to touch, so I'm probably not going to have to worry about that. A little bit of something going on right there, so I think I'll sand it just a little bit more. Alright, so I put a little bit of a wood glue, sawdust concoction that I made to fill in some of these voids. I'll sand them down later. I'm going to get some black paint put on these. I'm not trying to get real fancy with the fixing this. This is the understanding the customer and I have, but I'm trying to make it look a little bit better. So we'll touch up these. Are you recording now?
Oh yes.
Yeah. I'll just get a little bit of this lacquer in these, and it'll shrink down so it looks like it's overflowing and too much, but it'll actually shrink into it, and I'll have to add more. As I can tell, he's got quite a few layers of lacquer on here, which is a good thing. Alright, so let's do a little cleanup on the fretboard. It's just, we can make the super fine, like a triple aught or something, steel wool, and I'm just cleaning up the frets. This is part of why I like inlaid frets. The square neck guys, now we use a steel, we don't touch these things, so there's no need to actually have a real fret in them. So I like the inlaid a lot better. So there's like little dust and stuff, I don't know what it is, build up on the edges of the frets. It's been wiped off through the years, but you can't get right into that edge. So see if I can't get inside that a little bit and get those cleaned up. Alright, I'm going to scrape off a little of this dab of clear we put on here. Alright, I'm going to hit it with a little bit of 1000 grit, and then I'll work my way down to A little bit finer and then finer. And I didn't get that thing all the way out, but the customer wasn't wanting it perfect. And I didn't finish this guitar. I don't know how much lacquer's on it, although it looks like through the chip it was quite a bit, but I don't want to be sanding through also, so I'm just going to get it better than it was. Bring some of the life back to it. And then I think we'll be pretty close to ready. Other than, I think I'll level the rim just a little bit more. I think I'll go hit it with the buffer and we'll see how it does. So we're not trying to make it perfect necessarily. It's still an old guitar. But clean the dust off of it. I hit it with the buffer and buff it up. It's still got, I don't think you can see it in the camera, but it's still got little cracks in the finish and stuff. I'm not trying to get all that out, but we can get it fresh looking compared to what it was. This is just something I used to use in when I was doing show cars. It's not a wax, it's a pre-wax glaze. I really don't know what it is. It's kind of like a scratch filler or something, and on fresh paint I would use it before, and I wouldn't put wax on the car until after it was good and dry. And that's kind of what I do with the guitars. But it's kind of like a swirl remover. Anyhow, number 7 car glaze. I've used that for years. And I don't really think it does much for, I don't think it builds up, at least not too much. It's definitely not, it's not a wax. But it puts a clean, nice finish on everything, gives it a smooth feel, it even has a nice smell. It's interesting, it's coming off black. Makes you think it's a dyed fretboard. I think it's likely ebony, but sometimes to even it out, they'll dye it. Which I don't mind the little brown streaks in my fretboards, but there for a while there was definitely a traditional thing, solid ebony, no streaks, black fretboards. Alright, well, next step will be get some parts put on this thing. Alright, well, thank you for watching, and this is part 2 of 3. Hopefully by Saturday I'll have number 3 out so you can see it. But thank you for watching. If you liked it, hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, I hope you will. Thank you.